Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey.
Afternoon.
Hello.
Oops. Oh, it's not doing my headphones. Sorry. The Zoom app is you have to like opt into the audio. It's weird. Oh, there we go. Did you hear it, or is that just me? We can hear you. Okay, it's just gotcha. Perfect. And Jeff, let me make you co-host.
Buddy, you don't need to help.
Dog help or kid help?
Dog help.
Oh, right. Oh, hey, Lauren. My child would be helping if he were here. For sure. Yeah, and hey, Savannah is not feeling well, so she'll be off camera today, but is attending to hear our awesome speaker in a little bit. All right, we'll go ahead and get started, and a couple people are joining, but Jeff can now keep an eye on the list. So welcome to week 2. I hope everybody had a great weekend, and maybe some of y'all are on fall break this week, hopefully getting some much deserved rest. I'm here. I'm a little bit better than last week, but I may still have a coughing fit or two, so we'll see. Thanks, toddler germs. I want to go ahead and go over a couple of resources. Oh no, school Wi-Fi. Yeah. All right, we got a couple people having technical difficulties. Hopefully they'll catch up. Thanks. Oh, and I see in the chat, Terry and Cleve are on the same camera. So if anybody else is in the situation where you're in the same room, if you could pop that in the chat. Jeff is taking attendance for me, so that way he can see that. I want to share a couple things with you guys. I managed to misplace my slide deck from last week, so I'm going to work off of an older one. But so it says CGHI, but it's Georgia Bio. It's still me. It's all me. So let's see. Slideshow. Go. Can you guys see that? Perfect. All right. And it throws all the stuff in front of it, which is not helpful. Let's see. So couple of resources to mention. First off, the Equipment Depot. So this has been the majority of my job the whole time I've been with Georgia Bio / CGHI. So the Equipment Depot, we have a warehouse in Tucker. It's kind of a location and an idea. But we take in donations from whoever has things. It's usually life science companies. It can be universities. It could honestly be you guys if you have non-barcoded things that you have like 50 of them at your school for some reason and don't need that many. Just let me know. So we take those items to the Equipment Depot, and you guys are welcome to come and shop for them for free. It does not cost you any money to get the items. Please don't give me money. So I just want you to come get the things. The warehouse is getting full. You can see on the side there are a couple of photos. So we have a whole huge warehouse space in the back where the materials are stored. And you can see a couple of pictures here at the top. Some people bring their trucks, some people bring flatbed trailers. We have some bigger items. So if you're looking for something big like a freezer or a fridge, or we have some huge tables right now, some stainless steel tables. Those items, bring a trailer to get them. And then this middle photo was me and Kristen and Jeff O'Shields, who's now back in South Carolina, but he's been really good about posting everything on social media. So he's making his own reels and things about coming to the depot, which is pretty cool. So you guys use these items in your classroom so that you have stuff to do hands-on labs. And then that in turn helps us to inspire the future workforce to pursue life science careers here in Georgia, which there are plenty of. And people just need to know about them. I'm sure you guys, when you were growing up, what were the science jobs that you guys thought of? You can pop those in the chat. And yes, to answer questions while you guys are doing that. Yeah, we're only on the Equipment Depot slide. So on the right side, maybe you just need to make your screen a little bigger or smaller. So they're on there. I can't change my view, I think. Checking out the Equipment Depot virtually, yes. Just shoot me an email and we can set up a time to do a virtual walkthrough so you can see the types of items that are there. We do not currently have any incubators, but they come and go. So if you are looking for one, just let me know and I'll put you on the list. I keep like a wish list for schools. So lab jobs, you see lab work, lab techs, lab rats, being a lab rat, chemical engineer, marine biologist, veterinarian, wildlife biologist. You guys know you knew all these things while you were in high school. Rocket scientist. I do not have a comparison microscope right now, but again, email me and I'll add it to the list of things I can accept. Pharmacist. Probably a lot of nurses, doctors. Yeah. So those jobs do exist, but there are a lot of people who support those positions as well. So from companies like VWR, which are equipment supply companies, they need salespeople, they need technical staff to help the salespeople to walk through products and maybe demonstrate to clients. Right, CDC, microbiologist. CDC employs a lot of different levels besides PhDs. If you guys go on their website, they have a fellowship website. They have fellowships for levels all the way from high school through post-secondary, all of them. So DVM, MDs, anything in between master's level. I have a couple friends from my master's program who got ORISE fellowships. So they're working at labs in the CDC and working on public health issues. Awesome. Yeah, so helped in the lab at the local doctor's office. So there are back-end lab jobs to help the doctors out. Yeah, so all of these careers, we have things to help you to get your students to understand that they could see themselves in these roles. So that's PPE, that's all of the, pipettes, pipette tips, what else? Oh, just all kinds of random stuff. We get all the things in occasionally. So that is the Equipment Depot. And so here is a link if you guys want to follow the QR code that's right there. This goes to my calendar. You can see my availability, which is only during the week. Because it's looking at my Outlook calendar. But if you want to come on the weekend, just email me and we can set up an appointment. Got a couple people that need to enter. I'll let them in real quick. And you don't need to send me a wish list right now, this part at the bottom. But again, if you have anything that's in excess in your school, if you realize you have like 1 million Erlenmeyer flasks and really don't need that many, obviously ask your school first, but we can take that kind of thing. So I'm a resource. I'm here to help you guys. Let's see, we'll do one more resource for you. One of our grants, we got funding to bring the BASE exam to Georgia. So this stands for the Biotechnician Assistant Credentialing Exam. So this exam, there are a couple pathways in the state that can use this as an end of pathway exam, or we're working to get it accepted as an end of pathway exam. But this tests basically everything that you would need to be a lab technician or work in a QA role at a biotech company. There are some high school programs that complete it, and then this is also available for people who have completed a 2-year degree. So Jeff, who is on as my co-host, worked as the director of the bioscience program at Athens Tech. So the technical colleges have these associate degrees, and a lot of times the students may not even finish the pathway before they get scooped up to go to industry. And these jobs pay really well. I'm not going to tell you how well because it'll make you want to quit your job. And we need you guys to stay teaching.
But what about my second career when I retire in 6 years?
Second
Like,
career, yeah. So you can probably start out making about what you're making now. It depends. And you guys
while I'm
have,
pulling retirement pay,
yeah, while you're pulling retirement pay. So
and I
double
can't take
pay.
the samples home.
Right. You don't have to take the samples home. Exactly. So at 5 p.m., you turn it off and you leave it at work. So yeah, second careers, please. I need you guys to stay in, and I'm here to support you while you're in. Kristen, don't be a bad example and get people leaving early. So I took this exam. I did end up passing it. It's rigorous. It's really rigorous, but if you get the certificate, it means that you know how to do these things. And it comes with a shareable credential that is just online. So I have it posted on my LinkedIn so people can see all of the individual skills that you had to pass for this knowledge and practical portion. And so it works through some hands-on activities in the practical portion. So not just knowing that you can do it on paper, but you actually have to do things. And it's nerve-wracking to have somebody standing over your shoulder while you're trying to run a gel. So you really end up knowing your stuff from that. So if you need to know anything about that, the state testing coordinator is Stan Harrison. He's at Morgan County College and Career Academy. Link the URL in the chat, the Calendly one. Is that what you're talking about? I can put it in the chat, or the base. Okay, yeah, Calendly. I'll put it in the chat while our speaker is on, because it's almost time first. We'll have an industry insights training in the spring, and then Jeff is actually going to host that at UGA for us. So keep an eye out for that. You guys have all been added to our newsletter. Yeah, so Pamela is already registering for the in-person. So Biotility offers, they call it an IBTE, so Industry Biotechnician Teacher Experience, I think is what it stands for. It's a, I think 1 week in person and then 1 week of virtual materials that you have to do before you show up in person. Yeah, Trisha did it 2 summers ago. So we should still have some funding for that in the spring, hopefully, fingers crossed. And in that case, we can send a couple people if you want to learn more about that exam. Some schools are already doing the base exam. And so if you have students at your school that are doing biotech and you think that that is something of interest for them, there are testing sites already established across the state, and you can just reach out to Stan via this email. Yeah, so I'll post some links to that probably when I follow up with you guys later this week. Oh, there you go. Trisha said Paulding is a testing location. So any questions on that, we can come back to it. Okay, I'm gonna share. I'm gonna mute for a second while I cough. Okay, so y'all don't have to hear that. And close that. Are there any questions right now before we let our speaker in?
Are you going to put the slideshow or the information on an email or something like that?
Yeah. Okay. I'll probably put it on SharePoint and then send you guys a link so that you can just access it that way. Or actually, you have the Google Drive, so I'll put it in the Google Drive. Yeah. And I'll find the Calendly link while we're working with our speaker. All right, and we'll go ahead and let Miss Johansson in. I got it, Jeff. Getting connected. Katie?
Hi,
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Just trying
Good.
to find you
Thanks.
on the screen. There's so many
Yeah.
people.
Hello, follow my voice. And you guys, if you want, maybe I'll do it too. I'm going to turn mine to speaker view, and I think that'll make it do speaker view in the recording as well. But you guys can change your view to speaker view so that you can see our speaker. So I will just quickly introduce. This is Katie or Katrina Johansson from NextGen Biobanking, and I will let her tell more about herself. So thank you, Katie, for joining us.
Thank you. So I'm going to screen share because I have a little presentation for everybody. So how do I go about doing that?
Wherever your menu is, there should be a green share screen button.
Let's see. There it is.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, can everybody see?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I guess I will just get started. So like Megan said, my name is Katrina Johansson, or I go by Katie. I am a medical laboratory scientist and the director of operations at NextGen Biobanking. And today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the fields of medical laboratory science and biorepository science. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about how I got into the industry and about my company, which will hopefully provide you with a clearer picture of what a biorepository is and how they fit into the world of science and tech and biotechnology. Also, please feel free to ask any questions during the presentation. You can stop me, just shout out. I don't mind. Hopefully I won't lose my place. So first, I want to talk about the field of medical laboratory science, which is also sometimes referred to as clinical laboratory science or medical technology. This is a field of study that involves the analysis of various body fluids and tissues to diagnose and treat diseases. Medical laboratory scientists are specially trained and certified professionals to perform these tests and analyze the results. They work in hospitals and clinics and research facilities and various other healthcare settings. Medical laboratory scientists have training in many scientific disciplines such as clinical chemistry, hematology, microbiology, and immunohematology, which is also known as blood banking. The field of medical laboratory science is constantly evolving with all kinds of new technologies and techniques being developed every single day, which is needed to diagnose patients much faster and provide diagnosis to these doctors. So let's see. So I was going to tell you, the need for clinical laboratory scientists is on the rise. There are many more people leaving this industry than there are joining it, and I think it's just because it's not a really well-known industry. So to enter the field of medical laboratory science, most people start with an associate degree in medical laboratory technology. And one can obtain this degree while working towards a bachelor's, but it is time consuming and it does require a 20-week clinical rotation at an approved healthcare facility. So if your students have any desire to work in the laboratory in the future at all, a bachelor's in biology will not be sufficient to do so. They will be required to complete a medical laboratory technology program and pass their board certification exam. But there are several colleges and technical schools that offer an accredited MLT program both in Georgia and across the United States. An associate degree in medical laboratory technology will also allow a person to work in a laboratory while they finish their bachelor's if they decide to do a bachelor's in biology. Students also have the option to get a bachelor's in medical laboratory science and actually bypass the MLT associate degree and that certification process altogether. However, there are fewer schools in Georgia that offer that, but there's several across the country that offer it. And the difference between the medical laboratory technician and a medical laboratory science, beside that degree level difference, is the complexity of testing that they are allowed to perform within a lab and of course the pay. There's a pretty big difference in pay. So there are 3 accreditation bodies in the United States where one can obtain their certification to become an MLT or an MLS. And first is the American Society for Clinical Pathology. Then there is the American Association of Bioanalysts, the Board of Registry. And finally, the American Medical Technologists. Each has different rules and pathways to become certified, but they all require that completion of an accredited medical laboratory program, which includes that clinical rotation at an approved healthcare facility. And that healthcare facility has to have 4 main departments: the blood banking, microbiology, chemistry, and hematology. So my entry into the field of medical laboratory science was a little bit different than most. I started out my college career with a bachelor's in business, and I worked in insurance and finance for several years. I think it was like 10 years I did that. And I wasn't satisfied with my chosen career path, and I decided I wanted to work in the medical field, but I didn't want to do direct patient care. So like most, I never knew that the field of medical laboratory science even existed until I did some research. So I'm just curious, out of anybody out there, how many of you assume that your doctor is the one that runs all the tests and looks through the microscope to give you your diagnosis? Anybody out there? Okay, everybody must have their microphones off. So this is actually really common. A lot of people don't realize that there are scientists that work in the basement of hospitals, and they're actually the ones that do all the testing. And it's really common. Nice thing is now today, sometimes the laboratory is portrayed on TV and TV shows more often than it was before, before the 2000s. But according to the Centers for Disease Control, 70% of medical decisions that are made by a doctor are based on the results that are provided to them by the scientist. So I found this out. I thought it was interesting, and I had always enjoyed science in school and did really well. So I decided to go back to college. I got a certificate in phlebotomy first, and I worked as a phlebotomist while I went through medical laboratory technology school. I immersed myself in the whole healthcare industry. I learned how the lab operated, and I completed that program, and I was offered at a job where I did my clinical rotation, but I opted for a different hospital because they had better benefits. But being offered a job at the end of your rotation is very common for this program, because like I said, the need for medical laboratory scientists is huge. There just aren't enough people out there graduating from these programs to fill the jobs that are available. But I ended up passing my MLT board exam and was immediately able to take the boards to become a medical laboratory scientist, because I already had a bachelor's degree in business, and I had met all the course requirements as far as the science-related classes. I worked as a generalist in that hospital for a few years, and for those of you who don't know, a generalist just means that I was competent to perform testing in all departments within the laboratory. But I got married, and I ended up leaving that job and got a new job in a laboratory that performed flow cytometry testing for clinical trials, which was really interesting. And because of my associate MLT degree and my certifications, I was able to work in any laboratory, not just clinical diagnostics. So after a few years, I decided I wanted to move up into management, and I started my master's program, which led me to my current position at NextGen Biobanking. And so just a fun fact for those of you who are in Northwest Georgia, I actually completed most of my education at Dalton State College, and I did my clinical rotation at Hamilton Medical Center in Dalton. Dalton State College has an excellent medical laboratory technology program. So if your students have any interest in working in a lab, they can reach out to the program director there. Her name is Tara Stalling. She's a friend of mine, and she is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to laboratory science. So just a little bit of information for you. So next we'll talk about biorepository science. How many of you know what a biorepository is? Anybody? Okay.
I'll
Um,
unmute for you. I was raising my hand in my video screen.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I have my screen on, so I couldn't see.
That's
So
okay. I kind of have a vague idea.
yeah, so like I said, again, this is common that a lot of people don't really know what a biorepository is. Although I'm a scientist, I actually didn't realize that biorepositories existed outside of a hospital or university setting. So basically, a biorepository or biobank, as it's sometimes called, is a library that stores and manages human, animal, or plant biospecimens for use in research. And a biorepository can help accelerate research by ensuring the safety and integrity of all kinds of specimens. So those could be tissue, red blood cells, saliva, plasma, serum, nucleic acids, urine, stool. And that picture that you see on the screen there, that is an aerial shot, kind of an aerial shot of NextGen Biobanking, our actual biorepository. So I am, like I said, I am the director of operations at NextGen Biobanking, and I oversee all things scientific operations and compliance related. We were established in 2022, and we're located in Norcross, Georgia, which is kind of just outside of Atlanta. Currently, we store and manage over 3.5 million human biospecimens. And some of our clients include universities and laboratories and privately owned companies. And our largest client is actually the largest not-for-profit cancer research organization in the United States. So I have a brief video that I'm going to show you. It's basically just a lot of me talking, but it's just a promotional video that we did, but it really explains a lot of what we do here at NextGen Biobanking. So I'm going to go ahead and play that. Let's see. I'm going to do a new share.
You may need to go back out and then reshare.
Yeah, I'm going to a new screen. Let's see. New share. Sorry, guys. There it is. Can you see the different screen? Yes.
I think so. Yeah, it's on the NextGen
Okay.
Biobanking.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you.
Does it have sound?
Yeah. Can you not hear the sound?
No. I think there's a box to check. When you go to share, it says like share audio, computer audio.
Share sound. All right. We'll try it again.
And now it's muted.
Can you hear it?
NextGen fulfills an essential role in advancing research and improving population health by storing high-quality, well-characterized specimens and data that is readily available for analysis. The location, infrastructure, and square footage of our facility is vital for meeting the growing demands of the biotech industry. NextGen currently stores and manages approximately 3.2 million human biospecimens. These samples include tissue, cells, DNA, RNA, blood, and other various body fluids. The majority of these biospecimens are stored in vapor phase liquid nitrogen freezers, which maintain a temperature of -197 degrees Celsius. We also have the ability to store in -80 degrees Celsius, which are called ultra-low temperature freezers, and we can store in ambient conditions as well. We manage these specimens using a specialized biospecimen inventory system that allows us to receive, process, catalog, and disseminate these specimens. Once specimens enter our doors, we have the ability to track each one individually through every process it may undergo while in our facility. Clients can request detailed reports to verify the safety of their collection, and we can also provide audit logs of the specimen storage conditions in every single one of our freezers, which are remotely monitored and managed by our staff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Atlanta is becoming one of the epicenters of the rapidly growing biotech industry, and we want to support this growth by providing off-site biospecimen storage and same-day courier services to research laboratories, most of whom have limited space because of specimen storage takes up so much of their square footage.
Our vision of the future is, this is the model. We're building this in Atlanta, a lot of great infrastructure here in Atlanta, from the airport to the CDCs, the Emorys of the world, all of that's here. And we're taking all of that and piecing it together. And that's really the vision, is this is going to be the model for us to take this to other geographic locations in the United States.
All right. Let me get back. All right, so are we back on the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Look, I figured it out the second time. Okay, so that was just a little promotional video that we did. It was really nice. Our real estate company that found us this location, they offered to do it for us for free. So I jumped on the wagon there. But so because we store and manage only specimens that are intended for research, here at NextGen Biobanking, we're not required to hire certified medical laboratory technicians or medical laboratory scientists. So our biorepository technicians are primarily those with bachelor's degrees in biology who want to work in a laboratory environment but do not have the certification to do so, and unfortunately are not able to go back to school to obtain it for one reason or another. Their basic laboratory knowledge, along with on-the-job training, is sufficient to work in the biorepository industry. So on-the-job training here at NextGen includes data and specimen inventory management, laboratory safety, compliance, shipping and receiving, storage conditions for different specimen types, cryogenic equipment operation and maintenance, centrifuge operation and maintenance, along with other various laboratory equipment, proper pipetting techniques, and aliquoting of tissue and body fluids. So although not required to be board certified, they are required to maintain annual competencies for their job functions, which is laid out by our facility's accreditation through the College of American Pathologists. So like I said, NextGen Biobanking is a CAP accredited facility, or College of American Pathologists accredited facility, which means that we have been recognized by this third-party agency for our rigorous and robust standards to elevate quality and mitigate risk. We had to undergo an on-site inspection to receive this accreditation, where the CAP inspectors examined staff qualifications, our equipment, our facility, documentation, our health and safety program, and the overall management of NextGen Biobanking. We were able to obtain this accreditation within the first year of operation, which is not common. That's actually something I'm incredibly proud of. And NextGen Biobanking is one of the few CAP accredited biorepositories that's not affiliated with a hospital or a university in the United States. So finally, I had mentioned previously that biorepository technicians are not required to have any official certifications to work in a biorepository, but the American Society for Clinical Pathology does offer a qualification program for biorepository science. And it is, I think, to my knowledge, the only board certified agency that offers such a program. So to become qualified, one must meet certain requirements, all which can be found on the ASCP website. And we at NextGen Biobanking, we support all employees who seek the certification. Nobody here has actually completed it yet because there is a time requirement for working in a biorepository, and we've only been open since 2022. But as soon as any of our employees are available or ready to take that certification, we will cover all costs associated with it, because there is a cost to take the test, and then a cost to maintain that certification. So, but that is really all that I have for my presentation. Does anyone have questions? I'm happy to answer all kinds of questions.
So one question in the chat was, what software are you using to keep track of the samples?
So we use something called BSI. It's a biospecimen inventory management system. You can find it online. Let's see. I'm gonna stop sharing so you guys can come back and see me. So you can find it online. It's called BSI IMS. And that's what we use to track the specimens. It's really customizable, so you can track them as far as the life of the specimen. You can track patient information in there. You can track testing if we were to do testing here, which we don't, but you can. And we actually don't track any of the patient information on our side. We only store specimens that are de-identified. So we don't have to deal with the consent or any of that documentation on our side. Our clients deal with all of that there, and we store just the specimen information. Any other questions? Nobody? Okay, well, I'm gonna say are there any other messages, Megan, that I missed?
I keep trying to unmute. Also, Vicky said she worked at a technical program or the school that had the MLT program.
Yeah, which
Oh.
one?
Which one was it, Vicky? Oh, you're still muted.
Yeah, I
Aw.
was like, I can't hear anybody.
Okay, it was
Oh, there.
Southeastern Tech and Vidalia. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Southeastern.
Okay, Southeastern Tech, Vidalia, Georgia.
Vidalia, Georgia. Okay. Yeah, they're it's
I'm having internet issues.
it's okay.
That's okay.
So the problem,
Southeastern
one of the
Tech
things,
and
one of the problems that
yeah,
I've
Southeastern Tech and Vidalia.
Okay. One of the problems that I noticed is there really aren't there are some schools, but there are not a lot of schools that actually offer this program. And there's so many reasons why there's such a shortage of medical technologists. And that's one of the reasons, because a lot of schools don't offer it. It's an expensive program because the things that you're required to use there, like reagents and the microbiology plates and all of that kind of stuff, they're really expensive. And so schools don't really operate everywhere, and people don't know about the program. So how can students take it if they don't know about it? And the class sizes are really small. There were only 14 kids in my graduating class of my medical technology program. And actually only 9 of them completed the program and graduated and went on, because it's such a rigorous program to take. So, but I think it's great. I mean, I think it's great that you work there. I think it's great that people know about it, and kind of spread the word, because a lot of students they want to work in the medical field, but they don't really want to work directly with patients. And this is really a great option for somebody who loves science and loves to be behind the scenes and do the good work, but don't want to be in front of those patients. That requires a different personality, I think. That's more of a nurse and not necessarily a scientist. So.
Well, and I taught in the LPN nursing program when I was there.
Yeah.
We had the medical lab tech program.
Yeah, and you'll see the different personalities of the students that go into each program. Some are those really good caregivers and the LPNs and the nurses, and the other ones are just the diligent workers that stick to the rules and read the SOPs and follow all the guidelines to a T. It's just funny to see the different people that graduate. But yeah, that's very cool.
I think Gwinnett Tech is planning on starting a program.
Are they really? I hadn't heard about that.
Mhm.
That would be
Yeah,
great.
and we visited Chattahoochee Tech in Canton, and they have a program.
Yep, I knew that they did.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems too, is that it's not a program that you can take online. This is not something that you can teach yourself and take online. You need those lab hours. You need to be in front of that teacher. You need to understand that material and have somebody teaching it to you. So that's really another reason why a lot of people don't take it. It's not something you can do at home. You got to get those class hours and those lab hours completed.
Another question from the chat: how much liquid nitrogen do you use per week?
Wow, per week. So that varies. It varies really just depending on how many freezers, and we are constantly adding freezers. So we haven't gotten to a point where we are stagnant, but I can tell you that we have 2 9,000-gallon liquid nitrogen tanks outside our facility on the property. And I think you might have saw them in the video. One is directly piped into our facility via some vacuum jacketed piping along the ceiling that feed those liquid nitrogen freezers automatically. So those freezers, when they get low, they maintain about 6 to 10 inches in the bottom of that freezer. And then when they get low, they call for a fill, and that liquid nitrogen is pumped through, fills all the freezers all along the way if it needs it, and then we'll go fill that freezer that's low. But we also have another 9,000-gallon tank at our sister company, which is Select Gases. And so we are full of liquid nitrogen, but I can tell you we do go through a lot of liquid nitrogen. But the nice thing is, though, it uses less energy than a mechanical freezer. One of those freezers, the amount of electricity that it uses is about the size of a alarm clock on your nightstand, because it only has just a little monitor on the top that tells us about the levels and the temperature, and that is it. So if you're looking for energy conservation, liquid nitrogen is the way to go. Also, it's the gold standard for specimen storage for anything longer than 5 years, because all metabolic processes and specimen degradation stops at the glass transition phase of -130. So storing at 176 degrees, minus 176 degrees Celsius stops everything. So that specimen that goes in there 25 years ago is exactly the same if we were to pull it out today. And we do have specimens in storage that are 25 years old.
Awesome. Yeah, and the efficiency, I think you made the point when we visited that, a lot of these universities have been doing this in-house and running the big -80s and all those big freezers and really drawing electricity. And this is a much better option for them.
Right. A lot of the universities are going towards, like Emory University, for example, they have this green initiative where they want to decrease their energy consumption. They have a goal of decreasing it. I can't remember the percentage, but by 2025. So keeping all of these freezers on site, it's never going to happen. So that's one of the things that they're looking into is offsite biorepository storage, which is exactly what we do here at NextGen.
Awesome. We had a couple other questions in the chat. Somebody had asked about, do you guys store HeLa cells?
We do not currently.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's the main type of research that is being done by your company?
So our main client, like I said, is a not-for-profit cancer research company. So it's cancer research. Most of the specimens we have in our biorepository right now are their specimens. They are owned by them, and they do have the oldest specimen in storage right now.
Is it a specific type of cancer?
No, it is all cancer. So, I mean, I can't say it. I can't speak the name of our client, but you're more than welcome to go Google the largest cancer research organization in the United States, and you'll be able to see the types of research that they do.
Okay. I was just curious because I do have my children's cord blood banked.
Mm-hmm.
And we paid like yearly for that storage.
Yeah. That is something that we could do, but not under our accreditation. So right now we're working towards getting an FDA accreditation for human cells and tissue-based products, which would allow us to store things like cord blood, things like embryos, bone grafts, tissue grafts, those kinds of things, anything that would possibly affect a human person or go back into the human body. So there's there's different levels of accreditation for biorepositories, and that's just another step that we're looking into. But cord blood is one of the materials that would fall under that FDA registration.
Let's see, somebody asked, what could they tell their students that the starting salary is?
For a medical laboratory scientist or a biorepository technician?
How about both?
Okay, so an MLT, which is your associate level degree, you can start anywhere out depending on where you're at. So a couple years ago when I was at Hamilton Medical Center, the starting salary there was $17 an hour. It's actually bumped up to around 22 there now. And then an MLS, which is the medical laboratory scientist, that bachelor level, it really depends, but 27 to 35 starting out, it just depends on where you're at. And then for our biorepository technicians here, we start them out at 21. But we are, like I said, we're in Atlanta, but I don't know that you'd be able to find a biorepository out in rural Georgia anywhere. We're kind of few and far between. There's not a lot of biorepositories. Not yet, but we are planning on moving and opening different locations. So.
Awesome.
And we're needed.
Somebody asked for a recap of the departments at NextGen.
So really the departments here, we have our biorepository department, which really handles the equipment, the freezers, the maintenance, liquid nitrogen, anything, dry ice, anything that has to do with that storage of the specimen. And then we have the laboratory department, which deals with the accessioning of the specimens and any of the processing of the specimens. So there's two different job titles there. And then we have a compliance and quality and safety department. It's a lot bundled into one, but it was mine until recently, and I just created that department because it's a lot to handle. And then we have our client services department. So that's really all we have right now. We are, like I said, we're growing. We have a lot of specimens, and I think now that people know that we exist, we're going to be growing even more. So I'm kind of excited, a little bit nervous about the growth that's going on around here, but yeah, so those are our four main departments right now.
Let's see, do you guys do field trips?
If Georgia Bio would like to bring people and do a field trip, I'm happy to do it. I feel like I am a tour guide because we are showing people around here probably two different groups twice a week. So yes, we do field trips, preferably in larger groups, just because I don't want to do too many of them a week. I'm very
repeating yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very, very busy, but yeah, we're always happy to show people around and educate about biorepository science. I think it's important. Especially if you want good research results, you have to have good specimens, and you can't have good specimens if you don't have people watching them and taking care of them. So it's really important what we do here. We kind of are in the background, but we do good work.
Awesome. Yeah. And if you guys are wanting to come to Norcross area to do a field trip, I can help coordinate with Katrina, and then maybe we can do a teacher trip separately. Just for you guys. Awesome. Any last questions? Good. Awesome. Thank you, Katie, so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a good afternoon. And if you have any further questions for me, just reach out to Megan and she can put you in touch with me. I'm happy to answer questions.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, Katrina.
Bye.
All right. Awesome. So you guys learned a little bit about biobanking and then some bonus about MLT. So we're really rounding out kind of what's available in life sciences. Okay, so we are going to break into our breakout rooms. So you are going to go to the same breakout room that you were in last time. And if you need help figuring that out, I will help those who are behind and waiting on help So I'm going to create our 2 breakout rooms and let you choose your rooms. All right, and I'm going to open them. Oh, I can name them. I forgot to do that last time. Was Mark classroom 1 last time? Okay, so I'll make classroom 1 Mark and then classroom 2 Trisha. All right, opening the rooms. And Farha, you're going to go to Trisha's room, so I'll go ahead and put you in there. So it should give you the option to join that breakout room now. All right, Jeff. So you're going to Trisha's room again?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Oh, I choose that somewhere?
Yeah, or here, let me just do it for you. All right, Trisha, there you go. So it should give you the option now.
Okay.
Okay, good. Oscar found his too.